conflict. That's what would happen if we used military power in our society right now. We have many strong allies, but yet we still haven't had allies with some. And right now our closest allies are Canada, the UK, France, Mexico, and South Korea. According to NBC News, France has 300 nukes and the UK has 215. These weapons could cause mass destruction, and we do not want to interfere because it could cause major feud, and we will not be able to achieve peace for many years. So I think we should use diplomacy instead of military power. First of all, what is diplomacy? Diplomacy is the ability to shape preferences of others. In the business world, smart executives know that leadership is just not a matter of issuing commands, but also involves leading by example. My first contention is that diplomacy keeps the world safe. First of all, I want to mention that when we use diplomacy to help Cuba. Before, it was an authoritarian government. Now, because we use diplomacy, it is changing to a capitalist economy or a free market. According to History.com, back in World War II, the U.S. dropped 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The initial blast killed 40,000 in Nagasaki and a stunning amount of 80,000 at Hiroshima. These numbers might not seem big, but now since our technology is advanced, the numbers will rise. Also, 104,000 died in the Afghanistan war in 2001. Also, the reason why World War II started is because that military power failed to keep peace in World War I. Altogether, the New York Times stated that 108 million died in war in the 20th century. My second contention is that diplomacy strengthens relationships with other countries. As I mentioned before, we have very strong allies, and we have these allies because we have a common goal. And if one thing works, why should we stop using it? We should keep using it. A lot of people might say that since we have a strong military, we could use it to threaten other countries to give what we need. But that has many faults. Back in World War II, Adolf Hitler thought that he had a strong enough military and conquered Poland. But Poland's allies came and helped him, and that's what started World War II. Also, before the Cold War, we haven't had a really good relationship with the Soviet Union or Russia. But if we had a good diplomatic relationship, the Cold War might have never started. My last contention is that diplomacy could give you a good figure or a positive figure and want to make other countries ally with you. Let's say you're negotiating with a poor country or a developing country, and you're using your military to threaten them wanting them to give you what you want. But that would cause you to get a negative or bad figure and would want other countries to ally with you. According to the Washington Post, innocent protesters have been killed in Syria in an attempt to stop ISIS. Also, the New York Times stated that 484 civilians have been unintentionally killed in a coalition or an alliance. In conclusion, I think that we should use diplomacy instead of military power because it keeps the world safe, strengthens our relationship with other countries, and it gives us a positive or a good figure and would want other countries to ally themselves with us. For these reasons, I urge you to vote for a pro-ballot. Thank you.
Ready, Mackenzie?
Opponent ready?
Yes.
Cross-sex.
Yes.
That's how that works. I tell you when cross-sex starts. You ready? Cross-sex starts now.
Do you know how many years we will go without another war?
I do not know.
Okay. Didn't diplomacy fail, which caused World War II?
No, it was military power that failed because we got into war in World War I, and that was military power, and that failed to maintain peace.
But what about the Treaty of Versailles?
The Treaty of Versailles was initially used for diplomatic reasons, but had that kept diplomacy enough to stop World War II?
The reason of World War II is because of the Treaty of Versailles, which is an act of diplomacy that failed, causing World War II.
What's your question?
Isn't that why World War II happened, because of
That might be one reason, but the main reason is that World War I used military power, and that has failed.
How so?
Because that's why World War II started.
But how did it start because of military powers?
Because World War I started because of an assassination, and that was also a cause. That was also use of military power. And that's why World War I started. And World War I was also an act of military power.
Okay. I'm done.
You good?
Yes.
Okay. You ready?
Opponent
Okay.
ready?
Just
Yes.
move closer. There you go. Yeah.
Opponent ready?
Yes.
Judge ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, Judge. I'm here today to promote that military power is more effective at maintaining peace than diplomacy. My 4 contentions to prove my point are that dropping bombs into other countries will summon them to back off. Another reason is that diplomacy doesn't maintain peace with terrorists because diplomacy deals with government, unlike military power, as well as showing off with more, newer, and bigger weapons that will make them frightened. My last and final contention is the failure of diplomacy during the end of World War I, causing World War II. My first contention, dropping bombs into other countries, telling them to back off. For example, the United States of America dropped a total of 55,030 bombs into mostly Iran and Iraq. My point that by dropping bombs into the other countries, telling them to back off is clear to understand. I am pretty much saying that that dropping multiple bombs into other countries can eliminate more and more people who are doing harm to our country. Even though it sounds harmful, people getting killed now can prevent people from getting killed in the future. Backing up my point on diplomacy doesn't maintain peace with terrorists because diplomacy deals with government. Where is ISIS getting the money to buy these materials? Do they have a government on their side? If they did, wouldn't we know about it and wouldn't we have used diplomacy to maintain peace with their government and not still be fighting with them? Metro.co.uk states that ISIS wants an American invasion of Iraq and Syria. If we fight fire with fire, it can stop ISIS from getting what they want. My third contention, showing off our newer, bigger, and variety of weapons can startle and give other countries a wake-up call. According to new scientists, our expansion in modern weaponry has progressed over time. They said that in 400,000 BC, the humans used spears. Weaponry has advanced over time. In 2009, a U.S. government reported advocates using neuroscience to enhance soldiers' abilities or the creating the ultimate warrior, and furthermore has expanded until this very day. For my last and final contention, why military power is more effective at maintaining peace than diplomacy is because of the many failures diplomacy has gone through. For example, back when Obama was president, he tried to use diplomacy with North Korea, but all that they wanted to do was fight. Now Donald Trump's plan to deal with them is a lot like Obama's, CNN stated. Another example is the failure of Treaty of Versailles. When World War I was going on, they created the Treaty of Versailles to stop the war and to dictate peace with Germany. But Adolf Hitler went against the treaty and made an unprovoked attack on Poland, which then caused World War II to begin. All in all, I believe that military power is more effective at maintaining peace than diplomacy because dropping bombs into other countries will summon them to back off. Another reason is that diplomacy doesn't maintain peace with terrorists because diplomacy deals with government, unlike military power, as well as showing off with more, newer, and bigger weapons. And my last and final reason is the failure of diplomacy during the end of World War I, causing World War II to break out. Thank you.
So can we run our prep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cross-check starts now.
Okay, so for your first contention, you said that we could show off our weapons and our military power, and we could drop bombs on our country to tell them, like, okay, a wake-up call to back up. But how does that help us? Wouldn't it cause bigger destruction?
It would cause bigger destruction, but in the future, it would help people not get killed in the future.
Do you have any evidence of this?
No.
Okay. Also, you also said that dropping bombs would. But if you're dropping bombs of countries, do you know that all the people in the country are guilty? Some are innocent. So you're saying that we will, to achieve something, you would kill innocent people?
Bombs don't always kill the entire country. It can kill a certain amount of people. It doesn't have to kill the
Yes,
whole
in a certain amount of people, aren't there innocent people?
Yes.
Okay. So, also, you also said that North Korea and their diplomacy failed to keep North Korea, but North Korea is a very modern topic. Do you know what's going to happen later on with North Korea?
No.
Okay. You also stated that diplomacy fails, so this leads for military to be successful. How is that? Why do you think that?
Can you repeat that?
You said that diplomacy fails, so this automatically makes military power more successful. Why is this?
Because because World War II would have never happened if the diplomacy of the Treaty of Versailles did not occur.
Okay. How did the Treaty of Versailles become? Why did we need the Treaty of Versailles?
Because it was supposed to stop the end of the war for Germany to stop fighting
Isn't that
against
using
us.
military power?
Yes.
So basically, we need to use diplomacy because of military failure.
But the diplomacy failed, so that's why World War II broke out.
Okay. And you also stated in your
Time.
okay, Adolf Hitler. Okay.
Opponent ready?
Yes.
Judge ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So their speech stated that the cause of the World War II was because of military power. That is not true because the Treaty of Versailles was a dictate to peace with Germany, but that didn't happen. So therefore, the Treaty of Versailles was the cause of diplomacy, and that's how it failed. Also, they stated that dropping bombs into Iran and Iraq would kill thousands of people that were innocent. But it would also stop thousands of people from harming our country and other countries as well, including ISIS. Even though it sounds harmful, more people getting killed now can make less people getting killed in the future because they will eliminate the amount of people that are doing harm. And to back up my point is that I know that we dropped 55,030 bombs into Iran and Iraq, but it doesn't mean that it'll kill the whole country. It can kill a certain amount of people in a certain place because bombs don't kill like the entire country. So therefore the military power is more effective at maintaining peace and diplomacy. Thank you.
All right. You said the Treaty of Versailles was a diplomatic failure, and that was unfair to Germany that caused World War II. Well, don't you also think that Adolf Hitler was partly because of the cause of World War II and not just the Treaty of Versailles alone?
Yes.
So isn't it kind of not right to say that the Treaty of Versailles alone caused World War II? What about other factors?
I don't believe that
What
other
about,
factors
like-
affected it.
What about the ties of different countries, their alliances?
that wasn't a part of why World War II happened.
Okay, you said that dropping bombs into the Middle East would kill people, the bad people, and more people kill now. If you kill more people now, then less people will be killed in the future. Is that right?
Yes.
So where's your proof for this? Do you have any evidence saying that this is true?
No.
Okay. You also said that the bomb dropping does not kill the entire country, correct?
Yes.
So, but are you saying that the United States government should be willing to kill almost entire country just to get rid of, a small percent of the population causing trouble? Is the lives of all the innocent people that might have their lives taken away, do all those lives not matter? Are you saying there's no silver lining?
I think that the percentage of people that are doing bad is bigger and bigger, is getting bigger and bigger because more people from the United States are now joining ISIS, and that is proved by CNN. And so I feel that if you bomb that certain place, that those people will be gone, which will make less terrorists happen in the future.
But what I'm saying is, are the lives of the innocent people who also live in these areas. Our opponents said that with military power, we would be able to drop bombs against other countries, and they would back off. We would eliminate more enemies. But how does this help keep peace? If you drop bombs into a country, the country will be, I guarantee you, the country will not be happy that you're dropping bombs. Most likely, they're going to start a conflict with you. So this contention is completely false. if you drop bombs, sure, it might scare away some smaller countries, but if it's a country like, I don't know, if it's a country like Russia or Israel or strong countries, ISIS in the Middle East, they're going to fight back even harder, and it's not going to help keep the peace. Our opponent's second contention was that diplomacy fails against terrorists. That's just one example of when diplomacy fails. Yes, diplomacy is not perfect, but there are also many times where military fails. Military is not perfect either. And there are many examples of where diplomacy worked while military did not work. Our opponent also said that new weapons gives other countries a wake-up call, and weaponry advances are an example of this. But our opponent didn't give any proof of how this worked in the past, and it is possible that showing off your might can be seen as a challenge. Animals and humans throughout history have evolved to see aggression as showing off as a sign of aggression. Finally, our opponent said that diplomacy failed in World War II at the Treaty of Versailles, but like we proved in the cross-X, it's not entirely based on the Treaty of Versailles, and there are many outside factors, including Adolf Hitler and the weak, unstable government of Germany at that time, that also contributed to the fact that the Treaty of Versailles failed. So it's not just diplomacy alone failing. Thank you. Please vote for a ballot.
So what are some examples of military power not working and diplomacy working? After World War II, Japan, diplomacy in Japan of the United States government and Japan working together to help rebuild the government of Japan and the infrastructure and help the citizens. So that's the diplomacy working, and the military not working is, them dropping the atom bombs on Japan, and that was not a good solution to the problem because left radiation killed lots of people. Okay, so that's one example. Do you have any other?
No, but all I was trying to say was counter your example. What you were saying of one example. I can also counter you with one example. It doesn't make your argument any stronger.
So couldn't the countries be afraid with the type of military power that we have? Because
yes.
our military power is pretty much the best military power in the world.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, even though we might be stronger than other countries, that doesn't mean they don't know how to fight.
But wouldn't it be harder for them to beat us if we have the
yes,
best
but
military
they
power?
could be in an alliance with other countries. Like the United States cannot take on, say, Russia and China at the same time, or maybe the European Union at the same time, or NATO all at the same time.
Okay.
Partner ready? Opponents ready?
Yes.
Judge ready?
Yes.
My time starts now. So for my opponent, for my opponent's contention, she said that military, so that we could use bombs or use our military power to bomb other countries to give them a wake-up call or to show them to back off. That has many faults, though. First of all, as we stated in the cross-X, that you're killing many innocent lives. As I said in my contention, many people in Syria, innocent protesters, have been died because we're using military power. Plus, there has been 108 million deaths in war in the 20th century, and that just helps contribute to our point. Also, she also stated that dropping I want to mention again that dropping bombs does not help. Think of the atomic bombs released on Japan. Did that help Japan in any way besides destroying their infrastructure and hurting their economy? And also, as I mentioned in my third contention, that 484 civilians have been unintentionally killed. These numbers add up to a very huge number, and these deaths could be prevented if we didn't use military power. She also emphasizes the point of the Treaty of Versailles, but that use of diplomacy has worked. The only reason that it didn't work was because that there was a very unstable government in Germany, and that Adolf Hitler rose to power, and that was the cause of false military power. She also said that there will be some innocent lives that would be killed. So she's trying to say that innocent lives don't matter. And so for these reasons, I urge you, Judge, to vote for a pro ballot. Thank you.
Judge ready?
Yes.
So I strongly believe that military power is better at maintaining peace because my opponent keeps bringing up the fact that the reason World War II happened was because of military power. But that is not true because, as I said before, the Treaty of Versailles stopped the war and to dictate peace with Germany. But Adolf Hitler, who was from Germany, who was with Germany, went against the treaty and made an unprovoked attack on Poland, which then caused World War II. Also, organizations such as United Nations' main point is to maintain peace and with international relations and security. But they have also killed people when things go wrong. So diplomacy isn't always the best. That's all I got. Thank you.
Partner ready?
Yes.
Opposition ready?
Yes.
Judge ready? So what this debate all comes down to is peace. Peace. What does peace do? Peace saves lives and helps keep countries in happy, good relationships and ties with each other. Currently, organizations like NATO and the UN are doing this right now, and the world population is going up. And we haven't been in any serious wars since World War II, and many lives have been saved through their relief forces and efforts. This is all because of diplomacy. Our opponent said that dropping bombs would make countries back off, but this is clearly not true, as she had no evidence, and countries might fight back when they see this as a sign of aggression. And this helps support our contention that diplomacy helps keep peace, because if we do things peacefully instead of fighting, it's more controlled. People don't make such rash decisions, because people always make rash decisions when they're more angry, and being bombed by another country will definitely make you angry. Our opponent also said that diplomacy fails against terrorists. Well, military power has also failed to keep peace in Japan while diplomacy worked. And diplomacy also helped rebuild Europe with the Marshall Plan, while military forces did not work there, which supports this reason that shows that diplomacy strengthens the relationships between countries. And our opponent also said that diplomacy fails. Diplomacy failed in many cases. While this doesn't help support her argument that military works, because if you just say that diplomacy fails, you don't really give any proof or suggestions that military power to keep peace is any better than diplomacy. So this makes me believe that that argument is invalid. Thank you. Please vote for pro ballot.
Hence, I believe that my case has fully stated that military power is more effective at maintaining peace than diplomacy. My four contentions should have clearly clarified my case. Again, they are dropping bombs into other countries will summon them to back off. Diplomacy doesn't maintain peace with terrorist groups. Showing off our more and advanced weaponry can startle other countries. And finally, the failure of diplomacy during the end of World War I causing World War II. These reasons should valid that military power is more effective at maintaining peace and diplomacy. Thank you, and I urge you to pick on.
Okay.